Before we move on to the video, if you enjoy it, we would be very happy if you click the like button. Thank you in advance. Enjoy watching. According to the findings, humanity emerged in the Paleolithic era, also known as the Old Stone Age. The Stone Age is a broad period in the history of humanity. During this period, the greatest concern of people was the struggle for survival. Initially, humans tried to live in the forests, but it was very challenging due to the wild conditions there. Forests, which still host hundreds of wild animals, either extant or extinct, posed a significant danger to humans. Therefore, they had to retreat to rock shelters or caves, usually within formations of around 50 individuals. Their clothing was made of animal skins, and they would stretch them by chewing with their teeth, living a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. These people consumed the meat of the animals they hunted raw, without cooking. As a result, their jaws and teeth were shaped accordingly. Featuring wider jaws and teeth were shaped accordingly. Featuring wider jaws and sharper teeth. In fact, they were not unaware of fire. According to scientists, the first encounter of humans with fire began with lightning strikes causing wildfires. However, they were not consciously and individually creating fire. Over time, they learned to heat meat, rubbing it against the bones of animals or trees. By the middle of the Stone Age, changes began to emerge. They had now learned to create fire on their own. The Earth's atmosphere had cooled to a level that would not be seen again, causing a decrease in the food sources for humanity, including plants and animals. Up until that point, humans had been using natural stones, but now they learned to shape stones to defend themselves and for hunting purposes. They began sharpening the edges of stones to create primitive weapons. Thanks to these pointed stones, they started drawing paintings on cave walls for the first time. They designed their caves more effectively to protect themselves to some extent from the terrifying cold. And the Neolithic era. With the end of the last ice age on the planet, significant steps in development began to be taken. The transition from a very cold climate to a milder one allowed for the proliferation of animals and plants naturally. This climate change also affected the physical structure of humans. Herbivorous animals such as cattle, sheep, and goats emerged. The lands had started to yield wheat and barley. Humanity now had extensive opportunities on Earth. They formed herds of small and large livestock. Not only that, they started engaging in small-scale agriculture. The tools made of stone had become extremely practical. According to anthropologists, people during this period did not engage in wars with each other. Except for minor conflicts, people living a life similar to tribal communities in this era cooperated extensively, ensuring their survival. Figuratively speaking, humanity had transitioned from a crawling baby to childhood. A handful of people had multiplied over thousands of years and spread across the world. Humans working with minerals like copper, bronze, and iron began crafting many products such as ornaments, vases, spoons, and plates. They extracted resources from mines, significantly easing their lives. The production of goods and tools accelerated, making their weapons more powerful and their lives more prosperous. They designated regions as settlement areas and began transitioning to urban life. They lived in formations numbering in the thousands, building mud walls and houses. Anatolia was one of the most modern places of this period. Additionally, we encounter interesting cultures from this era. The oldest known temples emerged during this period. People were so devoted to their religions that these temples were the most meticulously constructed places. When an adult died, they buried them in a distant part of the city, and when a baby died, they buried them in their own homes. The deceased were buried with ornaments, although they had polytheistic belief systems during this period. Judaism emerged for the first time. It is estimated that during this time, Abraham, considered the ancestor of all future prophets, lived many years later. In this era, the spiritual teacher of Buddhism, Buddha, was born. After some time, an invention that would change the fate of humanity occurred: writing. With the invention of writing, the prehistoric period, known as the Bronze Age, came to an end. However, humanity now entered the ancient era with more conscious steps. During this period, many civilizations emerged. such as the Sumerians and Hittites, the invention of writing and the alphabet led to further modernization and an increase in the standard of living. Political structures were established to govern communities numbering in the tens of thousands. Laws were enacted to control social structures. The world's first calendar, known to date, also emerged during this period. Instead of the barter system previously used for acquiring goods, the use of currency began, leading to the development of trade and individuals engaging in buying and selling transactions. Due to the competitive nature among people, slavery emerged, statuses and class differences formed among individuals. As civilization slowly divided into states and borders became more defined, conflicts arose, wars, once simple, had now become destructive and deadly with the widespread use of weapons such as swords, arrows, and spears. In those times, Prophet Jesus proclaimed his prophecy, giving rise to Christianity. Subsequently, mighty empires like the Huns and the Romans were established. After the deep oppressions imposed by these empires, there was a migration of tribes. Those who migrated to Europe eventually formed the Europeans we know today. After these developments, the ancient era came to an end, and the Middle Ages began. While this age was prosperous for the East, it turned into a nightmare for the West. The tribes that migrated to Europe experienced a decline, especially with the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the West losing productivity in literature, art, science, and culture, was also grappling with a shortage of population. Social structures were shattered, and people were sacrificed based on superstitions. States were effectively governed by strict rules imposed by the churches during this period. The Crusader armies were quite prominent. Meanwhile, in the Arabian Peninsula, Prophet Muhammad proclaimed his prophecy, giving rise to Islam. Centuries passed, and in the East, unlike the West, tremendous progress was being made. In the fields of mathematics and invention, the West couldn't compare to the East. While universities in the East were hubs for students, libraries were abundant everywhere. Islam, in particular, was experiencing its most enlightened period. The Middle Ages, one of the most interesting eras, witnessed various disasters. In the late Middle Ages, climate changes led to significant agricultural losses, causing a rise in famine levels. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives due to hunger, as if famine wasn't enough. Humanity encountered one of the deadliest things the world had seen, the Black Death. This sudden epidemic, according to some sources, killed 200 million default text people, while others estimate 100 million deaths, with a significant portion of humanity perishing. The sociological structure underwent a complete transformation. As a result, churches lost their former power, and rebellions erupted. The end of the Middle Ages came with the conquest of Istanbul by the Turks in 1453. The new era had begun, and humanity, drawing lessons from the Middle Ages, was more confident than ever. With the onset of the Renaissance, which promoted the development of science, art, and culture, European society experienced significant progress. People now chose their religion, no longer subject to the impositions of the Church. Western states, desiring more than the resources in their territories, embarked on geographical explorations. The discovery of the American continent occurred during this period. These explorations also brought with them the greatest ambition of humanity. Colonialism. Western powers began to elevate their empires based on colonization. The Crusader armies gave way to more national armies, while swords, arrows, and spears continued to be used. During this period, innovations that would change the course of war were also discovered. Firearms with gunpowder were gradually invented, and wars now progressed in a much different manner. Unlike the Western Middle Ages, the West experienced a significant leap forward with these initiatives. However, except for a few Eastern states, the Eastern societies struggled to keep up with this development and gradually regressed. Societies were now more nationalist in outlook. The desire for free thought, which erupted in France, gave birth to the French Revolution. The monarchy was overthrown, and a republic was established in its place. This ideology had a significant impact, especially in Europe. With this impact, the New Age came to an end, and the era we are still living in the contemporary age began. Now, the emphasis shifted from nobility and kings to the importance of the common people. Declarations were issued in the name of human rights. With the advent of thought and freedom, ideologies emerged. Humanity experienced a leap in science and technology, leading to the invention of electricity. Other significant developments included the Industrial Revolution. Alongside human power, the concept of machine power emerged. The contemporary age, witnessing sensational inventions like the telephone, television, and airplane, also faced significant disasters. In this era, the First and Second World Wars took place, marking the first global wars in world history. Humans, who once did not know how to make a sword, began using atomic bombs. The same humans who were once afraid to venture into the unknown forest landed on the moon. We have tried to narrate humanity's adventure on this sphere briefly and succinctly. Hopefully, you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up for the reward of their efforts.